The Restaurant of Many Orders. By Kenji Miyazawa. Two young gentlemen, dressed exactly like British soldiers, carrying shining rifles, and accompanied by two dogs that looked like polar bears, were walking deep in the mountains through the rustling leaves, talking like this. These mountains are utterly disappointing. There isn't a single bird or beast to be found. I don't care what it is, I just want to fire a shot soon. Bang! Imagine shooting a few rounds into the yellow side of a deer. That would be quite a thrill. It'd spin around and then collapse with a thud. They had ventured far into the mountains, so deep that even their professional hunting guide had gotten confused and wandered off somewhere. The mountains were so terrifyingly wild that their two polar bear-like dogs both became dizzy at the same time, barked for a moment, foamed at the mouth, and then died. "That's a loss of exactly 2,400 yen for me," said one of the gentlemen, flipping open the eyelid of one of the dogs. "And 2,800 yen for me," said the other, looking frustrated and shaking his head. The first gentleman's face turned slightly pale as he stared at the other's expression and said, "I think I'm ready to head back." "Yes, I was just starting to feel cold and hungry too. Let's go back." "All right, let's call it a day. We can stop at the inn from last night on our way back and buy a mountain bird for 10 yen. We saw some rabbits too. It'll be the same in the end. Let's go." However, they soon realized that they had no idea which way to go to return. The wind howled, the grass rustled, the leaves crunched, and the trees groaned. "I'm starving. My side has been aching for a while now." "Me too. I don't want to walk any further." "Neither do I. This is bad. I really want to eat something." "Yeah, I'd love to eat right now." As they said this in the rustling field of tall grass, they suddenly turned around and saw an elegant Western-style building standing there. On the entrance, a sign read, "Restaurant. Western Cuisine. Wildcat House. Perfect timing. This place looks quite refined. Let's go in." Strange to see a restaurant in a place like this. But at least we can get something to eat. Of course. The sign clearly says so. Let's go inside. I'm so hungry I could collapse. The two of them stood at the entrance. The building was made of white ceramic bricks and was truly magnificent. The glass door had golden letters that read, "Please, come in. No need to hesitate." Delighted, the two men exclaimed, "How about that? The world is well made after all. We had a tough time today, but now something great has come our way. This place serves food for free." "It seems so." "No need to hesitate must mean that." They pushed the door open and entered. It led to a hallway. On the back of the glass door, more golden letters read, "We especially welcome well-fed and young guests." This thrilled the two men even more. "We qualify for a grand welcome. We fit both categories." As they walked deeper down the hallway, they came across another door painted light blue. "This is a strange house. Why does it have so many doors?" "It's the Russian style. In cold places and mountains, houses are built like this." Just as they were about to open the door, they noticed yellow letters above it. "This is a restaurant with many orders. Please understand this in advance." It must be a popular place, even in the middle of the mountains. Of course. Look, even in Tokyo, big restaurants aren't this common on the main streets. They opened the door, revealing another message on the back. There will be many orders, but please bear with us. One of the gentlemen frowned. What does this mean? It must mean that there are so many orders that preparing the food takes time. They're asking for patience. That makes sense. I just want to get into a proper dining room soon. And sit at a table. Yet another door stood in their way. A mirror hung beside it, and below it was a long-handled brush. The red-lettered sign on the door read, "Dear guests, please tidy your hair and clean the mud off your shoes here." That makes sense. I underestimated the place, thinking it was just in the mountains. They must have strict etiquette here. Surely, important people visit often. So, the two men neatly combed their hair and wiped the mud off their shoes. As soon as they placed the brush back on the board, it vanished into thin air with a whoosh, and a gust of wind rushed into the room. Startled, they huddled together, quickly pushed open the door, and entered the next room. They both thought they needed to eat something warm as soon as possible, otherwise, things could get really bad. Inside, another sign awaited them. "Please leave your guns and ammunition here." They saw a black stand next to them. Of course, one shouldn't eat while holding a gun. This place must really be visited by important people. They removed their guns, unfastened their leather belts, and placed them on the stand. Another black door stood ahead. "Please remove your hats, coats, and shoes." "Shall we?" "We have no choice. This must be a very prestigious place." The two men hung their hats and coats on hooks, removed their shoes, and walked barefoot into the next room. Another message awaited them on the back of the door. "Please leave tie pins, cufflinks, glasses, wallets, and all other metal items here, especially sharp objects." Next to the sign was a grand black painted safe, already open, with a key placed beside it. Ah, they must use electricity for some cooking method. Metal and sharp objects could be dangerous. That makes sense. We probably settle the bill here when we leave. That seems likely. The two men removed their glasses, cufflinks, and all valuables, placed them inside the safe, and locked it with a snap. After walking a little further, they encountered yet another door, in front of which stood a glass jar. The door had another message written on it. "Please apply the cream from the jar thoroughly on your face, hands, and feet." When they looked, they saw that the contents of the jar were indeed milk cream. What does it mean to apply this cream? Well, it's extremely cold outside, right? If the room is too warm, our skin might crack, so this is a preventive measure. I think someone really important is in the back. Unexpectedly, we might be getting close to some aristocrats in a place like this. The two of them applied the cream to their faces, then to their hands, and then they took off their socks and rubbed it on their feet. Even after that, there was still some left, so they each pretended to apply it to their faces while secretly eating it. Then, in a hurry, they opened the door. On its back, the words, "Did you apply the cream well? Did you apply it thoroughly to your ears as well?" were written. There was also a small jar of cream placed there. "Oh, right, I forgot to apply it to my ears. That was close, I almost let my ears crack. The owner here is really well prepared. Yeah, they're very attentive to details. But I'd really like to eat something soon. This never-ending hallway isn't getting us anywhere. Then, right in front of them, another door appeared. The food will be ready soon. You won't have to wait more than 15 minutes. It will be served right away. Before that, please sprinkle the perfume from the bottle thoroughly on your head. In front of the door, a golden perfume bottle was placed. The two of them splashed the perfume onto their heads. However, the perfume had a strange smell, somewhat like vinegar. This perfume smells weird, like vinegar. What's going on? It must have been a mistake. Maybe the maid had a cold and mixed it up. The two of them opened the door and stepped inside. On the back of the door, in large letters, it was written, "You must have found all these requests rather excessive. We apologize for the trouble. This is the last one. Please rub plenty of salt from the jar all over your body." Indeed, there was a splendid blue ceramic jar filled with salt. But this time, both of them stiffened in shock and stared at each other's cream-covered faces. Something is definitely wrong. I think so too. These requests, they're not for us to make, they're orders being given to us. Exactly. This so-called Western-style restaurant. It's not a place where they serve Western food to customers. It's a place where they turn the customers into Western food and eat them. That means, that means we. They started trembling violently and couldn't speak anymore. That means we are. Oh wow. They shivered uncontrollably and could no longer form words. Run. One of the gentlemen, shaking, tried to push open the door behind them, but it wouldn't budge an inch. In the back of the room, another door stood. It had two large keyholes, and cut into it were silver silhouettes of a fork and knife. Ah, thank you for all your trouble. Everything is perfectly prepared. Now, please step inside. Moreover, from the keyholes, two blue eyes were peering at them, darting back and forth. Oh wow! Shiver, shiver, shiver. Oh wow! Shiver, shiver, shiver. The two of them burst into tears. From inside the door, they could hear whispering voices. It's no good. They've figured it out. They're not rubbing in the salt. Of course. The boss wrote it all wrong. That part about we apologize for the excessive requests, what a stupid thing to say. It doesn't matter. It's not like they're going to share the bones with us anyway. That's true. But if they don't step inside, it'll be our responsibility. Should we call them in? Let's do it. Hey, gentlemen. Please come in. Hurry, hurry. The plates are clean, and the vegetables have been well salted. All that's left is to arrange you and the greens nicely on a pure white plate. Come in quickly. Yes, hurry in, hurry in. Or do you not like salad? In that case, we can start a fire and fry you up instead. Either way, please come in quickly. The two were so terrified that their faces crumpled like wrinkled paper. They looked at each other's faces, trembling, unable to even scream. From inside, the voices chuckled and called out again. Come in, come in. If you cry so much, all that cream will be wasted. Very well, we'll be right there. Now, hurry and step inside. Hurry up. The boss is already wearing a napkin, holding a knife, licking his lips, and waiting eagerly for you. The two of them cried and cried and cried and cried. At that moment, suddenly, from behind them, woof, woof, gwa. The sound rang out, and two giant dogs, as big as polar bears, burst through the door and leaped into the room. The eyeballs in the keyholes vanished instantly. The dogs growled and circled around the room for a moment, then barked loudly. Woof! And suddenly jumped at the next door. The door slammed open, and the dogs were sucked into the darkness beyond. From the pitch-black space beyond the door came a sound. Meow! Gwa! Rumble, rumble! Then, a rustling noise followed. The entire room disappeared like smoke, and the two of them found themselves standing in the grass, shivering from the cold. Looking around, they saw their coats, shoes, wallets, and tie pins scattered everywhere, some hanging on tree branches, others lying on the ground. The wind howled, the grass rustled, the leaves crackled, and the trees groaned. The dogs growled and returned. From behind them, a voice called out. Masters! Masters! The two suddenly regained their senses and shouted. Hey! Over here! Hurry! A professional hunter, wearing a straw hat, pushed through the grass and approached them. At last, the two felt safe. They ate some dumplings the hunter had brought, bought a wild mountain bird for 10 yen on the way back, and returned to Tokyo. However, their faces, which had once been wrinkled like crumpled paper, never returned to normal, even after they bathed in hot water back in Tokyo.